What's going on, everybody? Hasten32 here. We are back playing Mortal Kombat 1. So today we are doing a full breakdown of Scorpion. Be going over his strings, normals, special moves, and the Sareena cameo that I have him paired it with. Why I feel like that's his best cameo assist. We'll talk about all of those things in this video. So let's get straight into it. So first things first, we're going to talk about his general game plan. This is the area where Scorpion excels. He doesn't really have great pressure. No, he's not like an offensive oriented character like a Johnny or a Smoke, right? He really wants to play kind of like this neutral range, bait and punish you. He's got godlike normals from this range to check you with, right? Down 3, his sweep is also really good. Stand 2 is one of the best whiff punishers. Excuse me, Stand 2 is one of the best whiff punishers in the game. Back 2 is a godlike anti-air. So we'll talk about all those things. But this is the range where you want to be playing Scorpion from. Stand jab, 7 frames. It's his fastest punish, right? Goes for 1-2. 1-2 will combo into spear. It'll combo into Kia's blades from Sareena. Any cameo launcher that you have, really, it'll combo into. Now, one thing about 1-2, so 1-2-2 is a knockdown, so you can see he doesn't have a hit confirmable shimmy string. You can't just see the second hit of this connect and then go into a launcher, so you'd have to commit there if you thought that they were going to be expecting a throw and get shimmied, or try to mash after your stand 1, because you can mash after his stand 1 on block. Even though it says it's +2, if I go for a grab, that's 10 frames. If I go for my mid, that's 12 frames. So there's enough of a gap for both of those options where if they poke there, they can interrupt both of those options and take their turn back. The only thing I can really check you with is a down 1. But if I go for the down 1 and you block, you take your turn back. So the risk reward there is like, okay, do I either take 2% and get hit and it's still his turn, or do I go for the interrupt and take my turn back? And you don't have to worry about anything else really, because if they go for 1-2, right, they would have to hit confirm that into spear or something like that, and that's too risky, right? So at most you'd be taking like maybe like 7-8% from the knockdown. Eventually that'll add up. You don't just want to get keep getting hit by that, but it's not really something that is too dangerous to worry about, as opposed to someone who has a hit confirmable shimmy string where if you don't block they can launch you for like 40, right? Scorpion doesn't have that luxury. But here's where Sareena cameo comes in, because Sareena cameo makes this option less riskier for Scorpion, because he can do 1-2 into Kia's blades, and Kia's blades essentially gives you the same result that spear would in a safer option. Now, it is a high, so when the blades come back, you can duck under it and interrupt that if they block it, okay? So they can interrupt it, they can duck under it and punish the blades on the way back, but it's safer than just, if you do spear on block, that's like almost -30, you're dying for it, as opposed to just, okay, they blocked it, cool, I got a little bit of chip, they were able to interrupt and take their turn back there, but at least now, if they get shimmied, right, they end up getting hit by Kia's blades, you get a full combo, okay? Now, this is not foolproof though, okay? Because Kia's blades on block are interruptible. Well, if I do 1-2 into Kia's blades, it is interruptible. So I'll just show you. So my opponent reads that. It has to be a read though. Okay, they can't interrupt it on reaction. It has to be a read. But if I've been doing it throughout the course of the game, they read that. They can interrupt that with, a 7-frame, 6-frame normal. Okay, so just keep that in mind. It's not foolproof. So now the risk reward is, again, once they start reading that, now the risk reward kind of sways back into their favor, unfortunately, because now it's like, okay, do I get hit by the last hit of this string, which is not interruptible as you see, but I just take a little bit of damage into a knockdown, or do I go for the interrupt every single time, and if I get hit by it, I get knocked down, whatever, right? If he goes for Kia's blades on block, I interrupt to get a full combo. Now, at mid-screen, there's really nothing you can do about that, right? Which is why Scorpion isn't really meant for, pressuring you like that. However, in the corner, it does become a little bit scary for the opponent, because instead of doing 1-2 Kia's blades, I can do 1-2 into up demon. And the input for that is down plus the cameo button. And the up demon, you can actually combo off this in the corner. So now, and that's also safe on block as well. -3. So now I essentially have a safe meterless launcher there that I can go into, and that being a mid and having no gap in it as well, at least no pressable gap. You can armor through that, but in the corner now I actually get a launcher here. Oh, I dropped the combo, but you get the point. I get a launcher there that they actually have to respect now. Now, if you're playing against a character that has an armor move that they can use a cameo assist to convert off of, so say for example like Sub-Zero, he can armored slide through that and then use like Sonya assist and get a conversion. So in those matchups, again, you still have to kind of be weary of when you use that, but you can, it is an option. At the end of the day, though, his safest option is to just do 1-2 by itself because it is safe on block. And if they end up getting hit by the second hit of the string, as you can see, my 1-2 is plus 10 on hit, so I can still jail them with my stand 2 from there, even with the pushback on it because of how far my stand 2 reaches, which we'll get into right now, his stand 2. But even if they get hit by this, I can still jail them with stand 2. So I still have an option there, okay? Even if I don't do anything, let's say, for example, like, okay, they know the option, they're getting blown up for it, and then they end up still getting hit by that, and I didn't commit into anything because I expected them to block, and I, was too scared to go into another option. Even just, like, letting the second hit rock and not doing anything, I still can do something, okay? So Sareena Kameo opens that up for Scorpion and allows him to have that mind game or those mind games, right? So now we get into stand 2. So stand 2 is one of the best whiff punishers in the game. 10 frame startup goes into 2-1, which is very fast. For a button that reaches that far, 10 frames is really fast. And this is hit confirmable, 2-1. Now, that is safe on block, it's -6. Okay, I can also do 2-1-4, which is also -6. There is a gap in that last hit, but like I said, is it worth it? Because it's just a knockdown. So you have to think, is it worth it to come off the bar and blow up that gap? If I'm a character like Sub that can get damage off of it, yes. But like Lou, for example, Lou's not really getting, he's just getting bicycle kick there. So do I want to come off the resource there and blow up that gap when I would be getting my turn back anyway, right? So this is -6, this is also -6, and it's just a knockdown. I can't, I can't convert off of that. I don't get anything off of that. It's just a knockdown. So is it worth it to blow that up? The reason I make that point is because if they block the 2-1, you can pretty much just always finish the string on block, and you get a little bit of extra chip damage and you build a little bit extra meter as well, which is important in this game, right? Because breakers are very expensive, and if you have bar to use, you can extend your combos and get really good damage. We've seen, characters getting tons of damage in this game, right? Damage is really high. So it's almost always worth it on block to just go for the full string. If I'm giving up my turn anyway, I go for the full string and I get a little bit extra chip, I get a little bit extra meter. It's the same thing as if I just did 2, right? But again, be wary of those matchups like Sub-Zero where he can interrupt that gap with armor and hit me for like 30%, okay? Now we get into back 2. So back 2 is probably the best anti-air in the game. I don't think I've seen a button that is better at anti-airing than that. And the cool thing about back 2 is you can OS this. Look at how high that hits, right? And he like ducks down, so it's like very difficult to like hit him out of this. It's 9 frame startup too, so it's very easy to react with. And if they get hit by this, I keep dropping them. So if they get hit by that, right, they just lost about 40% meterlessly because they tried to jump at me, right? So very, very risky to jump on Scorpion when he has this button. 9 frames, really high hitbox, probably the best anti-air in the game. Then we get into back 3. So this is like a super long range sweep, and this button is very unsafe. It's like -19, so a lot of characters can just punish this from anywhere, but you have some characters that cannot, like Reptile for example. If I do this from max range, he cannot punish that as a reversal. The slide is just too slow. So in those matchups, right, I can kind of just like use this from that range, and the reason why this is a good check is because, so spear on block, right, is very punishable on block. But again, some matchups from here, right, you're not punishing my spear on block, right? Now, like I said, Johnny can punish that. I think Baraka can punish that. Scorpion himself can punish that with his own spear. But a lot of characters, if they block the spear, cannot punish it, so they have to duck it, right? So Reptile, right, from this range, if he blocks my spear, he cannot reversal punish this. He has to duck the spear and then do the slide under it, right? So that's where this button comes into play, because now you're trying to duck my spear, or I'm throwing out Kia's Blaze in neutral, and you're trying to duck and go under it with, you know, slide or whatever. Now I throw out this button, so now you can't just duck forever, right? It gives you something that you can check them with. So now I can start throwing out spear, and if they get hit by it, it's a full combo, right? If they block it, nothing happens, right? I don't have to worry about it. So that's, you know, the main reason why back three is a good button. It's just really to just check them from trying to duck your projectile with Sareena or duck your spear in neutral and get a punish on it. It'll just stop them from trying to blow that up. Now we have his forward three, which is his mid. Not the best mid. It's 12 frames, which for this game isn't too bad on frames, but it's just, it doesn't have the best range. It actually has a surprisingly high hitbox, so you can anti-air with it, but I wouldn't recommend it when you use anti-air with this. But yeah, so this is a 12 frame mid, and the string that it goes into is 432. That is a meterless launcher. It's safe on block, but the last hit is a high. They can duck that. So this is another situation where you can do something like 4-3 into up demon on block, safe on block. In the corner, that's a meterless launcher, as we talked about. And if they try to duck it, it'll blow them up for trying to duck it. Again, at mid screen, you know, you're not really getting much off of that, but in the corner, it does become scary to want to duck there. So now that opens up the game where it's like, okay, he's gonna do 4-3 up demon. Now I can actually start doing like 4-3 stagger into like grab and stuff. You know what I mean? So that gives you some, you know, another situation where Sareena gives you, you know, a little bit of added offense, gives you something that they have to respect. Because if I do 4-3 and then they just poke after it, and let's say for example I do 4-3-2, they're gonna poke under it, and if I do 4-3 stagger, their poke is gonna, you know, obviously allow them to take their turn back. So now this gives you an option where they can't just poke after 4-3 every single time, because they have to respect that. So now I can start doing, you know, other offense there. And in the corner, if they try to duck or poke or interrupt, now they're getting launched for 40, right? Then we have sweep. Sweep is a really good button. I think if you space it out, you can get it to like -1. Yeah, from right there, it's like -1. And I can back up stand 2, or, you know, dash back stand 2. This is really good in matchups against characters that have like stubbier pokes, or, you know, really have to like get in. So like for example, Johnny. I mean, Johnny could always just like, I guess, forward one you or back one, whatever his 9 frame high is. He can always just use that. But again, like at -1, I can just kind of check you with down 1 there, and if you're trying to approach me because you have to close that distance, right, I'm gonna beat you out. And if you're a character that, you know, has a like for example Scorpion himself, like if you're trying to like use a mid there, and it's not really like, you know, that much range to it, or if you're trying to like use your down 1 to poke me, I can always just do this and then just back up and just see what you do, right? And if you try to like press something, okay, I can react and whiff punish with stand 2. If you back up there like expecting me to like do something, now I can just back up and kind of play back in my range again, right? So sweep is a good button as well. Forward 4, you wouldn't really use that outside of just like combo extension, right? Same thing with 3-3. So this is like your highest damaging string, right, for extending your combos, but you wouldn't just use that on block. So in combos, you'd be using 3-3 to extend. 3-3-3 is actually your highest damage, but you can see it launches them. So, you know, in combo, you can use it as a punish if you want to get like, you know, max damage on the ground, but using it like in extensions, it's gonna knock the opponent up, and it's gonna, you know, mess with the gravity of your combo. So you're better off just using 3-3 by itself. But that's gonna give you your max damage. Also 3-3 with Sareena Kameo, so you can actually get a jump in off of that string and get a little bit extra damage. So if I, let's say I get a hit and I do 3-3 into Sareena Kameo, because of the, I did a neutral move. Because of the range that it puts you at, you can actually get a jump in there, where normally, most characters wouldn't be able to get a jump in off of their strings because it would leave them too close. So when you do Kia's blades, if you try to jump in, it'll just whiff. But off of this string, you can actually get a jump in, and it'll extend your damage just a little bit more. So not, obviously not the end of the world if you are not able to do that, but just something that allows you to get a, squeeze out a little bit of extra damage in your combos. So 3-3 is the go-to string for extending, your combos, getting as much damage out of them as possible. And it is also safe on block, but again, it's not something that you would just use on block. String's not really worth it. I'll just show it. So you get that -5. You do the full string, it's also -5, but I believe that last hit has a gap in it, so not really worth it. You're pretty much only using that string on hit. Okay, so getting into his specials now. So Spear, right? Classic Scorpion Spear. It's a combo starter, it's a combo extender, and it's also a combo ender. But it'll restand the opponent, right? It'll hit from anywhere on screen, it'll pull them all the way into you, and you can get a conversion off of it. If you do it as a restand, or excuse me, if you do it as a combo ender, it'll pull the opponent right up to you, and it'll do like this splat knockdown where it leaves them right in front of you. So you know, plus 52 on hit. You can do anything on Oki at that point. But it's really good also for setting up Sareena's rune. So we do this, set up the rune, and now they get up and they're just standing in it, right? So that's a good ender if you want the frames and you want the rune set up. Then he has down back 2, which is the blade spin. What is it called in this? Twisted Kaio. So that actually does a lot of chip damage, and the reason I bring this up is because I've seen people use like Cyrax assist with that, and like they'll do like a block string into it, and then they'll cancel into that on block, and then they'll time the Cyrax assist to come out, and it'll do like more chip damage, but it'll, make it so that it's safe. So you can do something like this, and then right after that last hit, you call out Cyrax assist to come in, and it'll do more chip damage, and it'll actually, I think it actually allows you to like, get some plus frames there as well. So that's just something I wanted to make mention of that you can do. So there are other assists that you can use with Scorpion that'll give him, some pretty interesting stuff. But for the purposes of using it with Sareena, that is going to be your most damaging combo ender. So doing this, that's your most damaging combo ender. In the corner, you can still do the same thing where you set up the Sareena assist. You set up the rune on their Oki, but you get more meter drain if you just do Spear Ender because it's only a single hit. Every hit of this is gonna give them meter, so even though the rune is under them draining it, it's gonna start like building back for every hit of that special. So if you want the damage, use that Ender, but if you want the to get the rune set up on their Oki, I recommend using the Spear Ender. Also at mid screen, it's going to send them away from you anyway. So you're not going to really be able to set up the rune off of that at mid screen. But in the corner, like I said, it really depends if you want damage or if you really want to try to drain their meter. So if they're close to a bar and you don't want them to have the option of being able to wake up, I would recommend using the Spear Ender and then setting up the rune on their Oki that way. But if you want the damage, that's the Ender you would go for. And like I said, also, it does a lot of chip damage, so if the opponent is low on life in the last round, or whatever round, doesn't matter. But if they're low on life, you can cancel into that, and it'll do a ton of chip damage, like 6% chip damage. So you can really close out rounds with that, with the chip damage as well. Now let's get into his teleport. Actually, let's talk about the dash first. So back forward 2 is his dash. So that is his side switch. It's also his armor. So his wake up attack, or your armor through a gap if you meter burn it. So if you meter burn this, it has armor on it, does 11%, which is solid, not too bad. And that's going to be your most damaging side switch ender. So if you do a combo and you want to push the opponent on the other side, you would end your combo with the Demon Dash, and that'll, be your most damaging side switch ender. Okay, so now let's talk about teleport. So teleport is the same that it's, regular teleport is the same as it's always been, right? It just hits the opponent, keeps them standing, switches sides, you get your plus frames. And you're plus 9, so from here you can go for throw, you can go for your 12 frame mid off of that, right? What you're used to with normal teleport. Now, EX teleport is a little bit different in this game. EX teleport will automatically cancel the teleport. So you can see I do it, it makes no contact with the opponent. And it's just, a complete side switch. It recovers decently quick though. So if I make a read on a projectile and I do EX teleport, a lot of projectiles you can just straight up get a full combo punish off of if you read it. Okay. Now the air teleport, it's kind of the same as the ground teleport. It can make contact with the opponent in the air, obviously, but you're not really getting a combo off of that. In order to combo off of that, you have to EX it. Right, I dropped the combo. But you can EX the teleport in the air, and you can actually cancel out of it into jump normals. So, that's an extension you can do. That was 2 bars, which is why I typically don't use EX teleport in combos unless I really want the side switch or I really want to cash out. Because off the EX teleport as they're landing, it can be kind of difficult to be able to combo into your spear on the ground and get your conversion. So a lot of times you'll find yourself having to spend the second bar on either the air, down back 2 or back forward 2, which we'll talk about those in a second, to get your extension there and then be able to combo into your spear. So I typically don't go into EX teleport unless I really want to cash out and get, good damage. You can, though, if you're using a certain assist that will keep the juggle going, you can, for example, do something like this. Oh, hold on. Right? You can do that, and as it's pulling them in, for example, you can use the Scorpion Cameo, which throws like the up flames, and as they're falling there, it'll actually extend it, and then you can get a conversion there and not have to spend another bar on the air snag and get your conversion like that. So just another example of where another cameo assist gives you some other options. So if that's something that you want to go for, you can do that as well. Like I said, Sareena is not the only cameo that Scorpion works with. You have other options. But just overall general game plan, in my opinion, I feel like Sareena works best with him. But that is another option that you can do. So if you don't want to spend 2 bars, but you want to be able to get like really high damage combos all the time, and you don't really care too much about the utility that Sareena gives him, you can use another assist like a Scorpion or a Jax or something like that that'll give him that air extension in those teleport combos, and you can really cash out on your damage that way. Now, the other 2 moves that he has, so he has air down back 2, and he has air back forward 2. So down back 2 you see doesn't have as much range as back forward 2. Back forward 2 goes a lot farther. But they're basically the same move. They're basically like air spears, right? So you snag the opponent and you either pull them in or pull yourself to the opponent. Same deal. The down back 2 I believe pulls them in, and the back forward 2 pulls you to them. But it really doesn't make a difference. They both do the same thing in extending your combo damage. Obviously, in the corner, you're going to be using down back 2 if they're airborne. At mid screen, depending on how far away they get hit back, it really depends on the combo that you do. But you kind of have to know which version to use, because if you do the close version and they get knocked away too far, it's not going to extend. If you do the far version and they're too close to you, it's not going to hit. So, it's really just a matter of knowing which one to use in which combos, but they essentially do the same thing. And I think that's all of his specials. I don't think I missed anything. Oh no, I did miss one. So he has his Hellflame, his back forward 4, returning in this game. In this game it is a low though. Okay, so in this game it's a low, and they can block it, and it's actually very unsafe on block, so they can pretty much every character in the game can punish this from like full screen. Well, not every character. Any character that has like a forward advancing move. So like as I mentioned from here before, where like Reptile can't punish Spear from this range. If I do back forward 4 and he blocks it, he can punish that from this range. So every character in that has like a forward advancing move like that, if I do back forward 4 and they block it, it is getting punished. Now, the meter burn version of it is unblockable, and it does damage over time as well. So if I do this move, right, it'll tick and do a little bit of dot damage. Well, it's supposed to. I don't know why it's not doing it now. Oh no, it is ticking down. It's just, it's very low. You can't really see it, but it does do dot damage. It's just the numbers aren't showing up. That's why I was confused. But it is unblockable. Obviously there's no hit reaction there, but they just take the 6% damage immediately, and then it does like a little bit of dot damage over time. But it's unblockable. So they can't do anything about that damage unless they're not on the ground. So if they're on the ground and you do that, they will take 6% damage plus dot damage no matter what. And you can actually close a round with the dot damage. So just keep that in mind, that they don't have to die from just the actual hit itself. The damage over time can kill them, which is kind of cheap if you ask me, but it is an option there. So if you want to close out a round, let's say for example, like, you know, I'm kind of like playing from here and my opponent's like, all right, I gotta get in, I can just do this, like, and if they're not ready for it, like they're not expecting it, it'll just kill them. So yeah, that's essentially all of his special moves, and we'll get into combos in a little bit. But I want to talk a little bit about Sareena Assist. So I talked about some things that Sareena Assist, you know, gives him as I was going through his strings and stuff like that. But also Kia's Blades here give Scorpion a projectile in neutral as well. So it gives you, you know, some type of zoning gain there that you can use to keep people in check. So you're not just throwing out Spear and being unsafe all the time. You can throw out Kia's Blades and it'll do some chip damage as well. It's pretty solid chip. You can also throw out this projectile as well, which is a lot faster. It comes back quicker. So if I want to just check you, you know, I can throw this out, right? It's very fast projectile. I talked about the rune a little bit, how you can set that up, but it's not really much to talk about with this. It does the same thing for everybody, right? So, you know, it drains meter, but Scorpion having, you know, Spear as an ender that he can do, giving him so many plus frames, so he can like set this up on Oki and really get a lot of value out of that. And then I talked about the Up Demon. Up Demon is also a wake up attack. It doesn't work all the time. You can blow it up in some instances. Oops. But let's say for example, like, why is that happening? So let's say for example I don't have meter, right, to wake up with. I can wake up with that. Right, so you see right there, it traded. It's not really like the best thing. Can I turn this off? Okay, it's not really like the best wake up, like armored wake up from your cameo, but it is an option just in case like I run out of meter or something like that. It is an option, and you can also do it, for example, if my opponent is expecting me to wake up with something, right, and they're trying to like bait it out. I can use that, and because it's safe on block, they can't punish me for it. So just keep that in mind as well, that you can use it if the opponent is, you know, baiting your wake up. You can use that as an option, and a lot of times, you know, they'll respect it because they're expecting you to wake up Demon Dash with your armor, and you can just wake up with that and you'll be safe, and you don't spend a resource. Obviously it spends your cameo, you know, some of your cameo meter, but you know, you're not going to die for it and you're not wasting meter for it. So it does help in that situation. But if they just meaty you after they knock you down, a lot of times they'll just completely ignore it. So just keep that in mind as well. But yeah, let's talk about some combos real quick that you can do with Scorpion. So he does get really good damage with Sareena Assist. Kia's Blades allowing him to extend a lot of his damage. So So that was like 42% right there for a bar. That was basically a mid-screen to corner combo extension that you can use there. You can also do, if you want to cash out, as I mentioned, with like using the teleport in your combo, you can get some pretty good damage there as well. Okay, so that was again 42% there. A little bit more damage if you choose to use the EX teleport, the EX air teleport. Again, like I said, with Sareena Kameo, it's not really worth it to do the EX teleport in your combo, because you end up having to spend 2 bars to get your extension there. If you're using someone like Scorpion Cameo Assist, it is better because when you pull them in off the air snag, you don't actually have to spend another bar to convert, because you can use like Scorpion's up flame or Jax's air grab, and it'll allow you to get an extension there. So just keep that in mind as well. But those are just 2 little short combos I wanted to show you, something that you can do with Scorpion. But you can see how normally Scorpion wouldn't get that much damage, but with Sareena's Kia's Blades, allowing you to get that grounded extension, which again, that works for everybody. But the other things that Sareena also gives Scorpion are why I feel like she is his best assist in this game. So yeah, that is pretty much general breakdown of Scorpion. Talked about his buttons, talked about all his specials and what they do. Talked about how Sareena Cameo synergizes with Scorpion and the value that she provides, and how she kind of gives him she kind of helps him out in the areas that he really struggles in. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I will be doing a more in-depth breakdown of Reptile a little bit later on, but I just wanted to get this Scorpion video out for y'all, 'cause I've been playing Scorpion a lot in like Combat League and stuff like that, and I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of what you want to be doing with this character and how Scorpion and Sareena kind of work together. So if this is a pairing that you want to explore, think about those options that I mentioned in the video, and you'll be on your way to winning some games with Scorpion. Like I said, he's a really strong character, but he's not really like pressure oriented. Like you want to play him where he is good, right? That's obviously with any character. But if you're a Scorpion fan, don't expect to just be able to go in and rush down people all game, because it's not really what he is good at. But if you play him here, play him at the ranges he is good at, you know, whiff punish, use your pokes to check people, right? Use your stand too, right? Just play that patient bait and punish game. You're gonna find a lot of value at a Scorpion, and he's a lot of fun to play, right? He's a sick character, right? But yeah, without further ado, that'll be the end of the video. I appreciate you all. I know I said I was going to get this video out last night. Things came up, so I had to do it this morning. But I got it out for y'all. So I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you take some information away from this and are able to apply it to your own game. And you start going out there and spanking people with Scorpion online. Alright, so I'll catch y'all on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.